What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 21 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 21 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $5,582 just yesterday, and another member who won $226 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all in into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to talk about is Podziemski for 20.5 points and rebs, and this one is for less. Now look at Podziemski. We've actually seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than the LA Lakers. Now when it comes to the LA Lakers, we actually do see have a really good matchup due to the fact that when we look at actually LA Lakers, we do see that when it comes to points allowed, we see that they rank 13th, and then also rebounds allowed, we also see that the LA Lakers rank 12th. So a little bit mid-tier, but a little bit more of that higher tier. But the reason why we do like the under for this situation here is that LA Lakers do a really good job at restricting, points and also rebounds to the guard position, which is what Podziemski is. Podziemski as well doesn't really have the highest usage rate out there. Yes, he does get stats, do not get me wrong, but we actually do see that when it comes to Podziemski, we tend to actually see him play that role player type role. He's kind of the second option to a lot of these big players, and because of that, we definitely like the under for this situation, especially for someone, or for a matchup like LA Lakers, where LA Lakers do a really good job at restricting that. Now, in this matchup as well, what we also do see is that when we look at what the bookies are saying, the bookies also have him favored for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. His average over the last 5 is 21.4, but I think a big reason for that is that most recently he did have a outlier game where he had 35 points and rebs. That was against Utah Jazz, who rank almost last in both those categories. So we think that was a little bit of an outlier game. It's brought this line a little bit too high, that now is a lot more value actually to go on the under there. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the under. So Podziemski, 20.5 points and rebs for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now getting to the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Kamara. So as we all know, Kamara, great player from the actual, Portland Trailblazers. And this one is a combo one for rebounds and assists for 8.5. And this one actually is for less. Now we look at Kamara. We've actually seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. And they do face off against none other than the Sacramento Kings. Now, when we look at the Sacramento Kings, we do see that the Kings do rank 17th when it comes to assists allowed. And on top of that, they also rank 15th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So very low in both categories. However, the reason why we still do like the under for this situation here is that Sacramento do a really good job at restricting rebounds and assists to the forward position. We actually tend to see Kamara run that forward position, and especially with the upgrades that the team such as Sacramento Kings have made over the last trades, we do believe there's going to be a lot more defensive focus on this new team, and we definitely see that taken into account and consideration coming into this next matchup. On top of that, we are also expecting a blowout game. The bookies actually do believe this is going to be a blowout situation, and if that is the case, we could see Kamara get sent off early, which also leads to less usage rate there. Now his average over the last 5 is 9.4, so it is slightly above that, but he did have a most recent outlier game against Milwaukee where he did have 15. It's brought this line a little bit too high. There's a lot more value to go on the under, and on top of that, when we also look at what the bookies are saying in this case, they also do or more favored for the under for this situation here. So we definitely are liking the under for this one. So Kamara for actually 8.5 rebs and assists for less, I think is a great pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Jayson Tatum. So, Jayson Tatum, great player as we all know, and this one is for rebounds for actually 8.5, and this one is for less. Now, we look at Jayson Tatum. We've actually seen him go on the under in 5 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than the Dallas Mavericks. Now, the Dallas Mavericks do actually rank when it comes to, rebounds allowed. They do rank 19th. So, a little bit low in that category. However, the reason why we do like the under for this situation here is first, Dallas do a really good job at restricting rebounds to the forward position. But on top of that, what we also do see is that Jayson Tatum's usage rate in the rebounding department has fallen substantially. We definitely see it around this line because his average over the last 5 has only been 6.2. We've tend to see him really focus a lot more on assists, a lot more on points. And I think his usage rate from rebounds, especially, with the players that Boston have, we haven't actually need to see Jayson Tatum grab 8, 10, 11 boards a game now. So we've seen his usage rate continue to decrease, and we definitely see that being a constant trend coming into this next game. It is going to be a very exciting game, but on top of that, we are also expecting a little bit more of a slower paced game between both of these teams. Boston and Dallas, not the fastest paced team, so we could see a little bit less volume than we usually see from Jayson Tatum, which could also lead to the under as well. So for that reason, Jayson Tatum, 8.5 rebounds for less, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Jaylen Brown. Now when it comes to Jaylen Brown, we see that he has been averaging 23.1 points, 6.1 rebounds, 4.8 assists, while also shooting 46% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job for the Boston Celtics, and when it comes to the Boston Celtics, they do face off against none other than the Dallas Mavericks. Now, when we look at the Dallas Mavericks, they are or do have a record of 26-25, and they face off against the Celtics, who have a record of 36-15. Now, the Dallas Mavericks do rank when it comes to points allowed 16th. On top of that, moving on into assists allowed, we see that they rank 19th, and then rebounds allowed, the Dallas Mavericks rank 19th as well. And on top of that, when we look at someone like Jaylen Brown, he does have a decent usage rate in all 3 departments, and for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation here. When it comes to someone like Jaylen Brown, not only is he a great player, but his high usage rate is definitely going to help him be able to go over on this line. He's consistently had a really good usage rate as well over the last 5 games. He's coming off a games in the last 5 days where he actually had 28 points multiple times, also 4 to 6 assists, and then also high rebounding games. So he has been a little bit of a hot streak lately. He has been able to beat his lines pretty easily over the last 5 games, and we think that will continue on into this next matchup, especially against the Dallas Mavericks. Now, on top of that, when we look at Dallas Mavericks, they do a really poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the shooting guard position. So we definitely see someone like Jaylen Brown taking advantage of that. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Jaylen Brown's line. I see a lot of value there to go on the over. And when it comes to Jaylen Brown as well, keep an eye out for the line, like I mentioned, but especially, if it is really, really low, there's a lot of value for the over there. Now, getting to the next player, Rudy Gobert, we're going to be talking about from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, Rudy Gobert has been averaging 10.7 points, 10.3 rebounds, and 1.9 assists, while also shooting 65.2% from the field. So when it comes to Rudy Gobert, they do actually have themselves a very, very good matchup against the Houston Rockets. Now, as you all know, Houston Rockets, have been doing pretty well in the Western Conference. Timberwolves have a record of 28-23, and the Houston Rockets do rank 6th when it comes to points allowed. They also rank 1st in assists allowed, and then also rank 8th when it comes to rebounds allowed. For that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation for someone like Rudy Gobert. A big reason being is that when we look at the Houston Rockets, we actually do see that they do a very, very good job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the center position as well. Rudy Gobert as well, he doesn't really have that high of a usage rate in the points, assist department. Rebounds is definitely his highest as he is the center for this team. But either way, if you do want to focus on a couple, I think points and assists is definitely where you're going to see Rudy Gobert more likely to go on the under. Not only just due to the fact that he doesn't have the high usage rate, but also due to the fact that Houston ranked very, very high at restricting, all 3 categories. On top of that, when we look at both of these teams, Timberwolves is a pretty fast-paced team. Houston are a little bit slower, and we actually tend tend to see is that Houston Rockets do a really good job at slowing down the pace and actually, slowing down the pace, especially for centers. So we could see less volume from Rudy Gobert as a whole. So less opportunities to get points, less opportunities for rebounds, and less opportunities for assists. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this one. Like I mentioned before, definitely focus on points and assists, but just, I think, keep an eye out for his line. If it is too close to his averages, definitely look to go on the under. So definitely see a lot of great value there. Now getting to the next player, we're going to be talking about James Harden from the LA Clippers. Now he's done a fantastic job. Now LA Clippers, have been doing great, having a record of 28-22, and James Harden has been averaging 21.3 points, 5.7 rebounds, 8.4 assists, while also shooting 39.3% from the field. So James Harden's done a fantastic job for the LA Clippers, and when it comes to the LA Clippers, they do have themselves a great matchup against the Indiana Pacers. Indiana Pacers do have a record of 28-21, so a very a good record as well, very similar as well to LA Clippers. And when it comes to Indiana Pacers, we actually do see that when it comes to points allowed, they surprisingly, although they have done well this season, ranked 21st. Moving on into assists allowed, we see that the Pacers rank a little bit better, but still in that mid-tier at 12th. And then rebounds allowed, we also do see that the Pacers rank 17th. So since Pacers rank so low, we do very much like the over for this situation. Pacers also do a very poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the shooting guard position, which is what James Harden is, and we definitely see him being able to take advantage coming into this next game. So I definitely see a lot of value there for someone, like James Harden to be able to go on the over. And when it comes to someone like James Harden, what we also do see is that when it comes to, his usage rate in all three departments, it is very high. I think rebounds is probably where his lowest usage rate is. However, it is still pretty decent. We tend to actually see James Harden go for a lot of boards. His intention is there when it comes to getting those boards. So that's why I think all three categories are definitely a really good look. So I definitely would keep an eye out for the over for this one. James Harden has been playing great as well. He's coming off a pretty poor performance game recently, only having 7 points against the LA Lakers, but we should see him bounce back, especially with this Pacer matchup, where Pacers are a very fast-paced team, and we actually are expecting them to pick up the pace for LA Clippers, and we could see James Harden get a lot more volume out there, whether it's points, rebounds, or assists.